Tonight we're here for lawn conversion, succulents, and companion plants. I'm very excited about this talk. We have our instructor, Shelky Powell, and we're hosted by the City of Santa Clara and BOSCA, the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency. For today's Zoom, everyone is muted by default. Shelby will pause every once in a while for questions. If I see something in the chat, if you have a question, please do put your question in the chat or in the Q&A. You can also raise your hand. We'll go ahead and interject with questions when a convenient pause happens. And this webinar is being recorded, and you'll have it available to watch again on the BOSCA website, usually in a couple of weeks. For those of you who don't know BOSCA, it represents 26 agencies that purchase wholesale water from the San Francisco regional system, providing water to over 1.8 million people, over 40,000 businesses and community organizations, and serving Alameda, Santa Clara, and San Mateo counties. The main program objectives are to ensure that the future water supply needs of BOSCA the communities are met. Outdoor water use continues to be the single largest way for us to conserve water resources locally, and making great strides on that behalf. But this program is focused on using water efficient plants and innovative garden techniques to help keep our drinking water for drinking and cooking and other essential uses rather than putting it into our landscapes. You may know of some programs, rebate programs to help you do water conservation projects at home. Lawn Be Gone is a lawn conversion, just like we're going to be talking about tonight. So that's an appropriate promotion for this. BOSCA also offers up to $200 rebate for rain barrels. And one of the easiest, I think, rebates to go after is the landscape irrigation controller. They have an assortment of different products to choose from. If you're in the Valley Water Service area, BOSCA offers Riccio and Oratio. And that's a very straightforward rebate. That's very helpful if you're struggling with managing your water. Rain garden rebates are also available for up to $300 if they meet the minimum requirement. Promoting their own landscape conversion rebate for residential properties. We offer up to a site cap of $5,000, and for commercial, that's up to $110,000. So do take advantage of those if you're a Santa Clara City resident or business owner. And we also like to promote mulch at this time of year, because when you're starting to do all the planting, you kind of forget about the garden that you've already done in the past. And sometimes it needs a new mulch layer to get it through the summer and help conserve all that extra water. So don't forget the mulch this March. Valley Water offers a lawn conversion program as well, and it varies as far as the cost sharing goes, depending on which part of the county you'll be in. But do check that out. It's at watersavings.org for more information. And Southland Green Gardens is a great resource if you're doing your own garden project at home. They have sample landscape designs, all kinds of plant lists that you can look through, and a lot of great other resources. Valley Water. Upcoming webinars are also available this spring for BOSCA. Oh, this is the problem. Switch the slides accidentally. Go ahead and skip that. And bayareagardening.org, for those of you who haven't used this is a new one for me, kind of, but it's a great opportunity to look at gardens. You can hover your mouse over different plants in the garden and learn different attributes of that plant. So if you like the look of a garden, you can do basically a virtual tour and be told what the different plants are. So it's really handy. You will turn it over and stop sharing. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself until we can see questions. So thank you to Shelky. Go ahead and if you want to introduce yourself too.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the talk. So my name is Shelky Tao. I have been a landscape designer for over 7 years now. My specialty is a native garden and rain garden, and pretty much just any type of the Jiao plants. So my business is called Water Efficient Gardens. You're welcome to visit the site to get more information. It's waterefficientgardens.com. Okay, so tonight I'm happy to talk to you about the companion plants for succulents. Let me share the PowerPoint. Okay, so many people love succulents. It's just a really great garden style, and there's so many succulents of different shapes, different colors, and they make for a great Jiao plant, Jiao garden, a great style when you are considering doing long conversion. So what is a long conversion? It simply means that a lawn, what used to be a lawn, is converted to a Jiao garden. So it's been converted, but we don't want it to go convert to anything just like anything, right? You don't want to just throw a bunch of rocks or just some mulch. Yes, that way you can save water, but it doesn't look good. We want to save water, but also want our gardens to look good. So to go to the succulents and native plants and all these different combinations would be a very good way to do it. So as you can see, this is one of the many long conversion projects that I have designed and assisted in building. And left, that's what it was like. There is this long. And then after we did putting the project, it became this beautiful succulent and native garden. So that's how a long conversion project is like. So that's from the side, and this is from the front. I want to point out and say this is a long conversion project, but the owner also took the chance to, as you can see, putting this decomposed granite path so that he can get the garbage cart out easily. So that's a path, not necessarily plants, but it's also considered a environmentally friendly feature in that it's permeable and allows the rainwater to soak down into the soil. So when we do long conversion, it doesn't mean it's just all plants. We want it to look beautiful, but also functional. So we can take the chance to add the paths, add other things that you feel like fulfill what you need for your garden, as long as they friendly to the environment, like this path, and also fitting the overall style of the garden. So this is a closer look of the succulent garden. It's just part of it, but that's actually what most of the homeowners want. They like succulents, but they don't want the whole garden to be just succulents. So they carve out a part of that, and that becomes a succulent garden. As you can see here, this along the driveway, this small piece, and along just in front of the patio, that's mainly succulents. That's the succulent garden. But then the main part of the front yard, that's still a native garden. I also want to call out that the owner specifically picked, you can see those pebbles, they are of like white, mainly white colors, and then there's some green ones are mixed in, a little bit like the green jade. So it does enhance the overall look of the succulent garden. So just another way that you can kind of like add to the style of the succulent gardens. So we can, okay, maybe next one. So these are the closer look of the succulents. We planted about 7 or 8 different types here and also in front of the porch. We just did the garden late last year, so they are still pretty small. But as you can see, these are the succulents in that small piece of the garden. So you can get a closer look here. We have the succulents, as you can see. We also have the companion plants, which we are going to go into in a little bit. So that's how companion plants can work. Literally, they are companions. They are planted together in the same bed or same location in the garden. So why do we want to do a long conversion? It's maybe obvious, but let's look at some why we want to do it. First and foremost, we want to save water. Lawn is a very thirsty, or the grass is a very thirsty plant. It needs like once a week, kind of like watering to keep it green. In hot summer, if you stop the watering, it will go brown like right away. So they are really big water consumers, or they really need a lot of water. And as we in California know, after we go through so many, oh, what happened? Sorry. Something, give me 1 second here. The PowerPoint was disappearing. Let me share again. Oh, okay, cool. We are back. So first and foremost, we want to save water. As we in California can tell, right? After we went through so many mega droughts, water is something we just don't have infinite supply of. We just, our gardens, yes, they should look good, but they should not take this gigantic amount of water to keep. So that's why it's very encouraged that we convert the lawn to this kind of like drought-tolerant landscaping, so that we can save water. We can have the water we need for all the other uses. Save water can also save money. That's quite obvious. So that's something. Not only can we have a nice garden, we can also save some money there. In some of the projects that I designed, we look at the water bills before and after. The water usage was cut by half, and that's for the total household water usage. So, and if you assume the indoor use is pretty constant, for example, you don't, right? You just use about the same amount of water to drink, to shower. So that 50% reduction, you can assume most of that comes from outdoor. And from that angle, the water used when it was a lawn and when it becomes a drought-tolerant garden, it can be something like 70 or even 80%. So I think that we can all feel very nice, right? That we save the water by 70 or 80%, but also that also save us money, but also we are doing all this good for the environment. Another big reason is that it adds to the curb appeal. Who don't want a beautiful garden in front of our house? We will be very happy with it. The neighbors will like it. When the real estate agents, they are selling the house, they will say, oh, the curb appeal of your house is really good. So that's another huge benefit. These gardens, if they are designed right, they can really add a lot of appeal to your house. Habitats for wildlife. Many of these plants, including some of the succulents, they actually are magnets for pollinators. So nowadays, we are actually facing a biodiversity crisis. So many birds, bees, and butterflies, including the monarch butterfly, the population has declined. The monarch butterfly in the last 20 years, the population has declined by something like 90%, and it's really facing a crisis right now. So it's pretty much up to us to try to put as many pollinator-friendly plants as possible in our garden, so that we can support their growth, so that our children and children's children can still see these pollinators. So that's another huge function for these kind of gardens. We can provide this habitat for all the pollinators. Well, these are the others are kind of like for the wildlife, for other people, the curb appeal. But then it's something for ourselves, right? And that's the biggest part. It's something very nice to enjoy every day when you look out from the window, when you go into the house. If you see this kind of like greenery, flowers, bees, birds, if you just everyone will be happy to see that. Okay, so these are some of the gardens with succulents that I designed. So as you can see, we have this dahlia here. It's a California native succulent. It works very well with these other companion plants, or actually other native plants. This is another corner of succulent corner. So on the left side, it's all native plants. But on the right side, the homeowners, they like the succulents a lot. So this corner is a dedicated succulent garden. This is another one. It used to be this big area of the grass of the lawn. Now we just, everything is succulents. And then we also mixing some native plant here. And as you can see, the homeowner, he also likes the white pebbles. So the whole surface is covered with the white pebbles. And it does make the contrast very nice. You can see the colors from all these succulents very well at the background of that white pebbles. So why succulent garden is a great conversion choice? One of the biggest reason is that they are very drought tolerant plants. The word succulent comes from the Latin word succulentus. It means juice or sap. So succulents, different from other plants, they don't store water as much in their roots as they store in their tissues, meaning the leaves or the stem. So then that allow them to kind of like survive a long period of dry weather for a long time. That's their mechanism to cope with an environment that does not have enough water or has very little water. Their roots are kind of like spread out. They don't go very deep down. That way they can absorb as much rainwater available as possible. So because of that, these plants, a lot of plants, succulents actually come from the desert environment. So if they can survive that kind of like arid environment, then they can easily survive in a drought-tolerant garden. So that's really the biggest reason why they are such a great choice if we want to do the conversion. They are called the camel of the plant world. That's how hardworking they are, how drought resistant they are. Well, so many people love succulents because they simply have so many different species and so many beautiful species. If you look at just a small subset of that, let's look at all the colors, look at all the cute shapes. It's just like what not to like love, right? And there are so many different types of succulents. When we talk about succulents, the small ones, usually that's what came to our mind. But actually, all these big, gigantic plants, they are actually all succulents. The Joshua tree, they actually is one type of succulent. The agave is a succulent. So succulent is its own world. It has its giants, it has its tiny small plants, and everything in between. That's what makes it so interesting, and also that's such a good news for us who want to build such a garden, because that means we have a lot to choose from. In California, we have many different types of plants, including succulents. So these are some of the ones, common ones we might know about. This is a Joshua tree. This is called Candle of the Lord. When it blooms, it has this long, tall stem that's fully covered by these white flowers. This actually used to be very prevalent in California. It used to be everywhere. You can see it. But when the early settlers, when they first came to California, they like it so much. They just, everyone tried to go out and just cut one down and just bring to home. So now it's much less distributed. But yet you can almost say it's one of the kind of like California succulents, the Lord of the candle of the Lord. These two others are also native succulents. This is gigantic Coopsis. It's chrysanthemum-like yellow flowers, but it's actually also a succulent. It tells you how versatile, how different the succulents can look like. This is a dahlia, as I mentioned earlier, so it is also a succulent. They just make stunning gardens. So this is a garden I designed for a homeowner. So she has this small piece of space just right at the corner. So, and she likes succulents. So I went ahead and designed this for her. At first, I was a little bit concerned because it's in the corner, it's like tucked in this corner and does not have a lot of sunlight. So I was a little bit concerned that because of that, the plants might not grow too well because succulents, they like sunlight, they like heat. But as you can see, they all turn out to be very good. So the succulents, I think another part of it is usually they are very tough and they can grow in all kinds of environments. So that's another great thing about them. And this is the California native dahlia. The others are not native. That's another sample of the succulent garden. This is actually for this is a sitting area. So again, the homeowner likes succulents very much. So that's how I designed for her. So all around the sitting area, we have all these succulents.
Sorry, we have a question from the audience asking how the succulents do in mulch.
So far, I think they can perfect timing. As you can see, this one we do cover it with just the same mulch, and the succulents are doing fine there too. I have designed other gardens where we just cover everything with mulch, and I think the succulents all did pretty well. So yeah, I think to cover with pebbles, that's more the convention, and that's also more mimicking of the natural environment of the succulents. Usually that's the norm, but again, as you can see here, they can do well as well if you just cover it with the mulch. So why companion plants? For me, I think there can be many other reasons. For me, it mainly comes down to practical reasons. In that most of the succulents, they are relatively speaking quite small. If you want to cover the whole space with just succulents, you will need to have a lot of such succulents. But if you mix and match with other plants, the place will not only look much more interesting, but also will fill out much more easily. So I will say companion plants are two big reasons to make it more interesting, to add contrast. As you can see, this makes a very nice contrast, not just among the succulents themselves, but also against all these other native plants. And also interesting, make the look more interesting, and also to fill out the space more easily. So as you can see, that's another corner. Also, we mixing the native plants. So for companion plants, if you Google, actually, you might come up with some answers that will totally puzzle you because they seem to talk about totally different things. So actually they are. The companion plant actually may come from these three totally different sources and refer to different things. So we can go into that a little bit. So the first one is actually from the concept of plant community. And the companion plants simply means plants that come from the same community. Now, plant community, I will say it's a very science-based concept. It's a science concept. So basically, it comes down to the plants grow together to support grow together that support the same group of fungi and bacteria that suppress together the same pathogen populations. In other words, the plants, they bond together to fight their common enemies, just like we humans do, right? In a society, we come together to fight off the enemies, animals or things like that. So they are doing the same thing. They come together so they are stronger and they can fight off the things that can negatively affect them. So there are many plant communities. In California, we have something like over 1,000 plant communities. Here you can see one such example. This is a photo I took last year during the super bloom. So all these plants here together, the poppies and all these wildflowers, they are just this one big plant community here for this area. So as you can mention, you can see that some communities can run for 200 miles. So it's really a very big kind of like concept here. Every area has their own planned community. In Santa Clara, this is one of a dozen also communities. It's called Coastal Sage Scrub. As you can see, it's such communities here. The most prevalent plants are like manzanita, buckwheat, lilac, and so forth. These are the buckwheats. So if you go hiking in the mountains, you might see these plants a lot. So if we talk about companion plants, in the concept of native gardening, native plants and native plant community, then we are talking about these kind of plants that in nature that they group together, that they grow together. So that's that concept. That's the concept of companion plants for native gardening. So that's concept background one. We are not talking about this kind of companion plant. This is very native plant specific. We also then there's also the same concept about a companion plant for vegetable gardening. So that's again totally different. This is mainly like about what kind of vegetables when you put them together in the same bed, that they can do better. One of them or both of them or all of them will do better. So it's a try and testy way to reduce pests, improve the health, attract pollinators, and boost the growth. So in theory, it's still the same idea as the plant community we talk about, that the plants bond together to do well together, and then to fight off the bacteria and pests. But then this is in the vegetable gardening background or concept. Now, for the companion plants for succulents, then the main idea here really is just it's not for the increase the produce like in veggie gardening, right, or in native gardening, native gardens, that the plants we should group them together like they are in nature. Here, the main purpose is to just increase the contrast, increase the interest, and just to fill out the garden space in a like nice way. So it's more like aesthetics based for succulents. So here I can briefly introduce some of the companion plants that are good for a succulent garden. Excuse me. The first plant is my favorite. As you can see, it's called the monkey flower. So this is a California native plant, and it has many hybrids. That means the nurseries, they grow them like this. They use different plants and mix them together. So they have a broad range of flower colors that you can choose from. Excuse me. As you can see, it goes very well with the pebbles, and then also with the succulents. That's like one of the go-to plant for me to use for succulents. Another big go-to plant is rosemary. Its spikes actually goes very well with the succulents, and it can provide this very nice kind of like background to contrast against. So rosemary and succulents, they are just like a pair of very good companions. Lavender is another big one. And there are many types of lavenders. They all make good companions. Here, this one, what we are showing is a Spanish lavender, but then you also have English lavender and then French lavender, which is more like the lavenders you might usually see with the long stems and the very nice purple flowers at the end. So every type of lavender can be a good companion plant for the succulents. Hummingbird sage. So salvia. So this is one type of the salvia or sage. Pretty much all kinds of sage can be companion plants. The hummingbird sage with its, as you can see, very interesting shape. It can attract the hummingbirds. So that can make a very nice companion plant. It adds to the drama and color of a succulent garden. This is another salvia that can do well in the succulent garden. This is the Cleveland sage. So they are all come from the salvia family. And as you can see with its like fine leaves and this dense foliage, it can be this good companion plant. Manzanita. This can be a little bit surprising because Manzanita is a very big California native plant, but actually they do work well together. It has Manzanita, it has this burgundy bulk, which it's also has this very nice color and can provide a very interesting contrast against succulents. In springtime, like right now, it's blooming, and also that in this kind of like small pink flowers or white flowers. So it's also can provide a very nice background for the succulents. Corral bells. It's another plant, as you can see, has this very interesting leaf color and shape. So as you can see, they really work well together. This color contrasts very nicely with this succulent here. They also like come in this small size, so they can very easily mix in with the succulents. So we have seen this one. Here at the background, it's California's foothill sedge. So the grass is also another very good companion. So the texture can provide very interesting contrast, as you can see here. And if you add some boulders, this combination can actually be a very nice combination in the garden. You can create this very lovely corner with different shapes, textures, and colors, and really give you a feel of nature. Bird of paradise, another plant of big drama. So you can, if you pair it with like the Lord of our, the candle of our Lord, they can look well together. Both have these very strong leaf shapes and green colors. And then the bird or this yellow flower, orange flower can provide a very bright this pop of color to a succulent garden. Yarrow, that's another big California native. It's very fine leaves, as you can see. That is another good texture to contrast against. And it also itself also has these white flowers. So if you have like usually in the garden, it can be used as a ground cover. So if you just have a bunch of them and then in the back, front, and you put some succulents, then together this fine like soft texture of the yarrows can provide a very like velvet-like kind of like background. So to the contrast will make the succulents also look very nice and interesting. Okay, so these are some of the main companion plants for the succulent garden. So let me know if you have any questions. Happy to answer.
We did have a question. Someone is wondering how to stop deer from eating their succulents.
Actually, there are some succulents. They have spikes. They are you just grow a row of them, and then they can be a very nice kind of like border to scare off the block the deers. A good one of that is called a blue flame. I don't have a photo of that, but it's a very lovely succulent of about 1 foot tall and wide. That can be just plant a row of them along the border, and hopefully that will scare the deer off because they have these deep spikes. Another way is to just similar thinking, just put agaves, a row of the agaves. When they become big, they can be like up to 4 or 5 feet tall. So that can be another good one to plant along the border.
Person commented back that the deer step over all of the spiky succulents.
Oh well.
That is problematic.
Wow. Then maybe we need some tall shrubs or small trees in that case. So yeah, we may try to find some native plants in the Santa Clara community, plant community, like lemonberry, lemonade berry. That can be a good one. It's very tall and thick. No deer can jump through them.
So those seem to be the only questions coming from the audience. But I know sometimes I have heard people comment that it's difficult to do a lawn conversion to get a rebate with succulents because a lot of the succulents have a very low coverage value. So might you have any suggestions for some high coverage value companion plants? Like that some native plants maybe that could go along to help you meet those 50% coverage value?
Manzanita, that's a good one.
Oh, very good one, yeah.
Yeah, so like Howard Ming, the coverage is like 38 square feet. If you go with a big manzanita like Dr. Hurd, it can go to I think 113. So Yeah, manzanita is a good one. Another good one is this Cleveland sage. I believe the coverage is 33 square feet. So yeah, if you just have a couple of these, that should cover a big part of the garden.
That's nice also because it gives you some varying heights and then it kind of acts as a backdrop for the showcase of the succulents in the foreground too.
Yeah.
So we have a couple other questions pop up. How much watering does a succulent garden need?
Put in this way, they only need very little water, but they are again they are so versatile and adjustable. In most of these gardens, we just put them in the same zone, and they seem to do fine with the same watering as other native plants. But usually, just a little water should be enough.
Is that maybe like a good soaking once every 2 weeks, once a week? What would you recommend?
I don't think they need soaking. Just give them the regular drip irrigation, like once every 2 weeks if they are already established. Even once a month in cool season.
That helps a lot. Someone is asking how to get rid of mites around succulents.
That's I don't know whether I have a good answer for that. I don't really have a recipe. In the many succulent gardens that I have designed, I haven't heard the homeowner told me such a issue. So I hope this is not like a universal issue, and and for that specific location, maybe just think of some way, just like you will do in when you have a mat in other situation, and try to deal with that separately. Red.
Sometimes just a really thorough rinsing and changing the topsoil if you have a pest like that will take care of it. And sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. Landscape fabric with succulents. Is that something you do typically?
In these gardens, we mostly do, as you can see, the plants, if you, oh, okay. I have tried both. This one, actually, we don't put any fabric down under, but as you can see, the weeds are coming out. So, and in the other garden that I showed, like this one, we do have the fabric done. So I will say it's mainly for the weed blocking, really. The succulents themselves do not seem to care with that or without it. They seem to do fine in both situations. So it's about how bad is the weed situation in your yard. If you don't, if it's manageable, if you don't feel you need it, then yeah, you can do without it.
Have you ever used recycled material like corrugated cardboard or sheet cardboard, like sheet mulching for around succulent plantings as well?
I think in the YMCA community garden, we did, but again, we did the sheet mulching, but only for some areas. I try to think. We only had a couple dahlias there, so I don't know how representative that is, but those two dahlias, they do fine there. So from that limited sample, I will say it's okay. The others, we just remove the grass at the start of the project. So it seems, as far as I can tell, both ways can work for the succulents.
We have another person asking, why is the green succulent dying after it has a flower stem?
Oh, those that's how the nature that's how the nature works. Like the candle of the light, candle of the Lord, and they die off after it blooms. That's how the plant is. Some succulents are is that way as well. That's how the nature designed it.
Right, I know it's disappointing to people once they have a big plant they see grow for 5, 6
Yeah,
years, and they say, "Oh no, what's happening?" But that's
yeah,
its life cycle.
yeah. Agaves as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
they,
sure.
yeah. Mhm.
And then we have another question. I've heard some succulents are winter feeders versus others summer feeders. Do the water needs differ by season?
I think it's just like any plants, right? Very. I did not hear about that really. I think it's just like any plants in hot summer, in hot days, then yes, they would need a little bit more water. Um, but I did not think there's a very specific division between summer and winter types.
And I believe this is from the person who asked the question about the flower stem. Should we cut the flower stem to save the succulent?
I don't think that can help too much. um, because once it blooms, then some plants will just die off. But if that's not the case, right? If the plant is still doing well, it still has a life in it, then yeah, just like any regular maintenance, you can cut off the stem.
And we had a comment also, another advantage to succulents is that they propagate so easily. You can break off a piece and stick it in the ground.
Exactly.
Well, it seems like that is the end of our questions. And if anybody has a last minute question to pop in, but otherwise, I think that's rounded out our panel for now. Was there anything you wanted to add to close the presentation?
No, thank you so much, Victoria. Just wanted to say, succulent can be a great plant for Jiao garden, a water efficient garden. When you are considering long conversion, definitely is something you can add to the plant palette and use them. They can make very stunning gardens.
Shown us some great examples tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and thank you, Shelky, for such a wonderful presentation and for all the great answers to our curious questions. So keep in mind, everyone, there are more spring classes coming in this series, so do check back on the Bosca website to see what else is coming up. And thanks again for joining us tonight. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.